How's it going, super friends? So today's video is going to be all about the Jada DC Comics NANO MetalFigs collection. I picked up the Batcave and I picked up 2 packages of the NanoFigs with an individual Batwoman figure as well. I shouldn't call them figures, they're actually more like little weensy tiny Dungeons and Dragons figures that are adult collectibles that you display. It's kind of weird that they're sold in the toy department because right on the package it actually tells you they're not toys and they're not to be played with. Anywho, the first one I wanted to show you was the Superman figure. It's not terrible. It's alright. I mean, I like the blue. The blue is actually a nice shiny blue and the red's nice and brilliant, but you're going to notice one thing after looking at these very close up is that these are very, very shoddily painted. And I know I'm going to seem like I'm being very hard on these, but I want you to understand if you're not used to seeing well-painted tiny figures, like say for tabletop role-playing games, and there's even if you just look at the figures that you buy when you get the, what is that, HeroClix. HeroClix figures are often painted better than these as well. So as far as paint goes, paint apps, these tend to be very bottom of the barrel. And the sculpts as well, when I show you the back of the packaging here, you can actually see that the sculpting that they originally decided to use is much more detailed than what they've actually given us. Somehow in the production of these, they've lost a good half of their detail. So I'm going to be kind of harsh on these, but I also do like them. I want you to understand that I like them, but they kind of suck. That's my opinion. Okay, and next we have Boob, Spillage, Wonder Woman. Okay, come on. You look at that. I mean, you know the second that she runs anywhere, they're both going to flop out. And, I mean, that's not going to be a good scene for anyone. All joking aside, the face on this Wonder Woman looks all right. I mean, the paint job looks pretty crisp. That could have turned out a whole lot worse. You can see, though, that they really do skimp on the colors. It's just a straight black, a straight red with the silver, and that's really it. But it doesn't look terrible. Okay, they all look kind of terrible. I'm going to say they don't look terrible, but please understand, don't compare these to something that actually looks really good. I'm comparing them to the rest of themselves. So that's Wonder Woman. Next, it's the new 52 version of Superman, and the S on the chest is actually pretty crisp. Gets a bit sloppy on the outside. This isn't terrible. He does have a chip on his head. I want to warn you, this is one of the reasons why they're not for playing with, is because the paint chips off of these metal figures very, very easily. I'm not sure if they just didn't use a primer or what, but that is kind of a pain in the butt. But that's the other Superman. Next, we have the Flash. I'm not sure if that's Barry Allen or Wally West. I would say that that's probably Barry Allen. It looks all right. I wish that the light actually caught the gleaming red of his suit a bit better because it really is a nice red that he's got there. The details of the lightning bolts are on both sides, but obviously not in the middle. They just didn't paint them there. Maybe they figure you're not going to display them that way. The eyes look nice. They're really crisp, really big. Kind of reminds me of the Toy Biz Flash from way back in the day, but you know, I mean, they skimp on the paint details. No lightning bolts around the wrist. They didn't put the paint on the ear wings or the radio transmitters, depending on what, timeline you're reading. But one of the better ones, I would think, after looking at all of them. This one's all right. This is Reverse Flash, and he looks pretty good. This is actually what you look at now is actually what he looks like. That kind of gold color. That's not a camera trick. That really is what he looks like with that red. And I kind of wish that he was a brighter yellow, but I understand why they went with the gold. Not a terrible looking one. It's the same sculpt as Flash, as you'll see, so there's not really a whole lot much more to show there. So that's Reverse Flash. And of course, you can't have a picture of the one without having both of them together racing. So, I mean, you can really tell that they're the exact same sculpt, too, when you have them side by side like that. Okay, and next it's Poison Ivy. That looks terrible. Okay, take away the sloppy paint and like the casting nubs that are all over her face that look like she's got moles or something like that. I kind of see Nicole Kidman in there. Nicole Kidman with a really giant wig, but I see Nicole Kidman in this Poison Ivy. Not my favorite Poison Ivy iteration of the costume, but, it looks like she's covered in green slime, to tell you the truth. Well, I gotta move on to the next one. I'm sorry. And next up we have DC's female Puss in Boots, Catwoman. And, yeah, that's some shoddy looking paint there on the chest. Okay, I got to give them some credit. It's classy enough that there is no butt chest cleavage, so that's all right. I'm cool with that, but definitely, well, that's Catwoman. There she is. Shazam! Next up is everyone's favorite Marvel of a character, Shazam. This isn't Shazam. I'm sorry, I can't do it. The wizard is Shazam. Shazam is the magic word. As far as I'm concerned, screw the legal battles. This is always going to be the Captain to me. This is Captain Marvel to me. I don't care what anyone says. This is Captain Marvel. And the new 52 version, that looks good. I mean, the sculpt looks all right. They didn't paint the boots yellow at all, but I realized that whoever was doing these, probably in China, had a very high quota, and they probably didn't have the time to paint the boots. Probably some corner cutting there. But when I look at the face, I don't see Captain Marvel here. What I see instead is like a mob enforcer, someone that shows up to your house to break your ankles when you haven't paid up or something like that. He doesn't look like Billy Batson as far as, maybe the sculpt does, but the paint just doesn't do it for me. But anyway, that's Shazam. Next up is Arthur Curry, the king of Atlantis, Aquaman. I like him. The sculpting detail in the body with the scales armor looks all right. The green and orange are on par. The blonde hair looks good. He's got weird devil horns, or like there's a chip in his hair I can see, and also like a nub from the casting. But he's not terrible. I do wish they had painted the belt a yellow color, because Aquaman's belt is yellow, and they already had the yellow. Come on, they painted his hair. Just put a little bit more on the belt, and this would have been really, really good for what it is. Anyway, that's Aquaman. Moving on to the next one. It's Bizarro. He am number 1. This one actually turned out pretty good. For one, there's not a whole lot they had to do to get this right. Between the boots, the outside trunks, the S, and the cape, that's one color of purple, and then you have that really bluish purple for the rest of him, and obviously his hair is black, his hands are white, so this was actually a really easy one to do, and all things considered, the belt and the S are actually pretty tidy for something this small. So far I'm actually the most impressed with this one out of all of the little nano figs that I've seen. So this is Bizarro. And next up we have Hawkman, and this is actually one of the ones that actually doesn't look like the worker showed up drunk that day before he picked up the paintbrush, because there's not a whole lot of paint slop to speak of, and all the colors look like they're pretty much in the right place in comparison to a lot of its other compadres that I've reviewed today. And this is the new 52 version of Hawkman. And yeah, that's it. That's the Hawkman, so let's move on to the next one. And next we have the Rebirth suit Batman, painted like the classic Batman. And it's funny because the belt is the Rebirth belt, but the bat on his chest, if you can faintly see those lines coming off the bat, that looks like the new 52, but that belt is not the new 52 belt. That's definitely the Rebirth belt that's been just painted gold. So I'm going to call this the Rebirth Batman, painted like a classic Batman. I like him. He's basic. He's simple. Gets the job done. Kind of looks like a teddy bear, though, from the shoulders up. I'm just saying, those don't look like bat ear horn radio receivers. That just looks like a teddy bear head. Okay, next. Captain Atom! I like this one a lot. The silver is effective, and because he's silver, they don't need to have that much detail, you know, on his face. They just paint the eyeballs and the eyebrows, and the shadowing in the silver does the rest. So you can really see the details in the sculpt for this figure really, really well. And he's my favorite as far as the details go. Turning around the back as well, you can see them buns. Looks like he's wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay, next, Batwoman. And, she looks really rough. I'm not gonna lie. This is a mess. This is just a mess. I like the color. The red looks good. I like the fact that the black is nice and dark, but that's about it. Oh, just look at her face. Look at it. Freaking look at it. It's hideous. It looks like a zombie in a Batwoman costume. Look, just kill it with fire from orbit and let's move on to the next one. Skadoosh! And here we have Potato Head Supergirl. This is not terrible to begin with. The sculpt looks good. It's a nice pose. The paint is the right color. It looks okay, but when we get a closer look at that chest emblem, that's when things begin to go south pretty quick. That's a bit of a mess. The inside looks okay, a little bit, not at all, but then it's in just a red circle. It's a blob. I'm sure that somebody showed up to work and was like, nope, I did not take out any from the bank of today, so I have none to give. A 0 kind of day. Live with it. And then we have Robin on that. What happened to your face, Tim? You look like someone beat you with the ugly stick. You're having a hard go of it, aren't you? Okay, because you're a minor, I won't say anything bad about you. Let's just move on to the next one, which is Batgirl. And okay, as hard as I've been on some of these, Batgirl is one of the better ones, I think. The face doesn't look like Barbara, obviously, but it's really tiny. And you can see they really slopped that paint on there. And she's got a big growth coming out of the side of her face, like it's a mole or I don't know what that is. But she's not terrible. The purple looks good. The yellow looks good. And I retract that. She does look terrible, but compared to the rest of them, she doesn't look as terrible. Okay, that's what I'll give her. A mark of not as terrible. Barbara Gordon Batgirl in the Burnside uniform. Next. Ooh, this is hideous. This is the, what the heck happened here? This is a whole lot of nope. Okay, so this is clearly supposed to be the Rebirth Wonder Woman, but, I mean, the paint is just a disaster. It's a mess. It's way up above her chest, and I'm sorry, that face, the eyeball, the eyes aren't even in the eye crack. They're on her eyebrows. They're on her forehead. She looks like she went to the doctor and said, "Yeah, I'll tell you what, just mess up my face. Just screw it up. Make it look like Cher got beaten with a bag full of bars of soap. Yeah, that's the look I want right there." Next we have Cyborg, and up until the New 52, he is part of the Teen Titans and then the Titans. And then after New 52, from the New 52 onward, he was part of the Justice League. Still actually part of the Justice League. Not terrible in a pretty kind of crappy sort of way. You can really see where they skimp on the detail. Not terrible compared to a lot of the other ones we've seen, except for the head looks like he should be in Thunderdome, where 2 men enter, 1 man leave. He totally looks like he's from a Mad Max movie. A Metamorpho, the elephant man. I'm leaving that in there. Metamorpho. Rex Mason, the elephant man. Okay, stop it. Leave me alone. Rex Mason, Metamorpho, the element man. And I like the Metamorpho, the elephant. For Pete's sake, Brad, will you stop doing that? I like Metamorpho, the elephant. For fuck. Next, we have the New 52 Batman with the same kind of teddy bear thing going on with the top of his head. I want to cuddle him instead of run from him. Except for when you get to the eyes and I don't know, he has a very bad skin problem too. Eyes are off kilter. But the sculpt is okay. You could tell it's a New 52 Batman because of the belt. I'm actually here looking at the packaging while I'm talking to you, and you can definitely see that these were originally made to have a lot more detail, and then something has just gone terribly wrong in the manufacturing and the casting process. Black Adam! The New 52 suit, not completely my jam. I do prefer just the classic suit, but this isn't a terrible nano fig, and okay, in the face though, it doesn't look like him at all. He looks like another person that's going to show up at my house and break my ankles if I owe somebody money. But here he is. Black Adam, New 52. Next. And here we have the New 52 Earth 2 version of Batman. This is the second one. I didn't get to follow the entire series, so I couldn't afford to. But if I'm not mistaken, this is actually the Thomas Wayne Batman. After the first Batman from that universe died in issue 1, for Pete's sake. It was so early. Thomas Wayne later on actually took over as that universe's Batman. Next we have Superflex Martian Manhunter that actually looks more like he belongs in a wrestling ring or on the stage in a flexing competition. Why is he flexing? Seriously. He's the Martian Manhunter. He's like super humble. Okay, let's pretend he's not flexing and he's actually just in a rage position or something like that. Although I still think he's flexing. He's not terrible. The belt has no paint detail whatsoever, but the green is a nice green. The eyes are good enough. The head looks like a in-between of a marshmallow and a football helmet, so that looks about right to me. The cape is nice and blue. One of my favorites so far that I've seen. Absolutely. Next up, we have DC's pseudo version of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Two-Face, and with the flip of a coin, he can ruin your life and shoot you in the face, which would be a darn sight better than had you had half your face melted off and then you looked like this mess. Because this is, I'm not gonna lie, that's rough too. That's rough. On the one side, he kind of looks like the Grinch that stole Christmas wearing a bad judge's toupee, but this is, can we move on? Yeah, this is gonna give me nightmares. Moving on to the next one, which will be the New 52 Batman, painted on the Rebirth body. And that's a whole lot of, you know, it is what it is. One teddy bear ear is a little bit smaller than the other, but it's, you know, it's Batman. Next, it's Mr. Luthor! And you can actually see that he's got a metal plate in his head, so he just needs a lighter and a coat hanger and he's good to go. No, seriously though, this one's alright. He's, you know, got the purple and the green. Not a whole lot of other paint detail there, and the middle with the symbol there is just sloppy as heck. But, you know, it's Luthor, that's what he looks like, and here's the next one. Next up, we have the man without fear, the ring slinger himself, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And all the power rings in the world couldn't make this a better figure. This off-kilter lantern symbol and his potato head and his flat top haircut. This one's kind of a mess too. Now the green, the fancy shiny sparkly green paint is like a good feature for this, but other than that, aside from the sculpt, which is clearly definitely lacking in detail, I'm telling you, something went wrong in the manufacturing process with these. And it doesn't even have the ring on his finger. I thought I'd point that out too. Anyway, so that's Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. Nice close look at him. And now we have Brainiac, and he looks he looks kind of ticked. This is just okay, I have to make fun of these, because if you don't make fun of these and see the humor in them, you just end up looking at them like they're tragic. Like there was so much potential with these, and they're just, I couldn't even play with these as a kid because the paint would have chipped off. These would have been plastic when I was a kid. So this is just like, it's Brainiac. He's green. He's bald. He looks like he has a forehead rash or suction cup marks on his forehead. That's what he looks like. Let's go to the next one. And now it's the Paris. He looks so happy. Okay. There it even, his face. The green paint is slopped, as you can see. He looks very happy. I don't know why he looks happy. His head looks like a booger. Matter of fact, the whole thing looks like a booger. Let's go to the next one. One of Batman's most dangerous foes, Killer Croc. Very green, very blue. Not terrible. Well, his face close up, though, looks something different, eh? When you're smiling... When you're smiling. Come on, look at all those teeth that aren't there, but you could tell that there was supposed to be teeth there, so they painted it white. He looks like Barney. It took steroids. If it was green. Kick me in the Jimmy. Ugh! And now it's Mr. Freeze. He's my favorite of the DC Cold villains. I do like this sculpt actually a whole lot. Again, it's sad that you can tell they've lost a lot of the detail, but it looks alright. His head kind of looks like a blue jelly bean with 2 red dots on it, but he's not terrible, and the sparkles actually really fit a character like Mr. Freeze. Makes sense because he's a cold character. I like him a little bit more than some of the others too. Now as for the Batcave, this thing really does a good job of giving you damn Batcave feels. The thing, sure, it doesn't have the giant coin or the Robin suit under the dome or the Tyrannosaurus Rex or the Joker card. It's missing all kinds of stuff. However, what it does have is actually pretty authentic looking, between the Bat computer looking actually like the Bat computer, the Batman suit that's kind of behind glass right there. That's kind of a neat touch that it's the Bale suit too. There's the light up bat symbol circle where clearly the Batmobile is supposed to park, and it comes in and out through the sliding door. The minute details of this Batcave are really convincing, and it's probably the best Batcave playset that I've ever seen. Now, if we could only get something of this quality for 6-inch scale figures with about twice the features, I would be golden. And then finally, for good posture, I brought in all of the DC Nano Metal figures and plunked them down in the Batcave. It looks more like an overcrowded, drunken cosplay rave party than it does the Batcave at this point. But I figured all this stuff was reviewed. Let's try and get it in the final few shots. And there we have it. So I guess with that, the video is pretty much done. Oh, by the way, the P.O. Box is up and running, so if you'd like to send me a letter or a postcard or a hand-drawn picture, I'm going to be checking the P.O. Box fairly regular, and when I get enough, I'll make a video. Maybe it's once or twice a month or something like that, and I'll showcase your stuff in a video, and I'll also post it up in the DC wall behind me. So with that, I think finally we are done. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please leave a like on it so I know I'm doing something right. Any comments, leave them down in the comment section below. And if you think you'd like to become a super friend and join the DC squad, hit the subscribe button. Remember to ding the bell because occasionally it works. And I'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome day, friends. Take care.